Oi, you know what time it is? You're tuned in listening to That Aussie Metal Guy. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his content when it drops. And remember, stay brutal, you mad dogs. Roof.
G'day everyone, it's Jai, that Aussie Metal Guy here with Crank.com. So tonight, wherever you are, I've got absolute pleasure with speaking with the mastermind behind one of the most emotionally intense and socially immersive, sonically, pardon me, even immersive bands in the black metal realm, aka the Nameless one of Ghost Bath. We're getting to dive into the twisted beauty and despair of the latest album, Rose Thorn Necklace, which did drop May 9th, Fire Nuclear Blast, from the shimmering chaos of Vodka Butterfly to the suffocating darkness of Dandelion Tea. This is a gut-wrenching album, and it is pure catharsis at its best. Cheers for joining me, mate.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Mate, this is an absolute pleasure. Let's start right at the core, man. This is an absolutely amazing album. I've been digging your music for quite a while now. It does feel like a little bit more of a personal and emotionally harrowing work to date for you. Tell me a little bit about the songwriting process for this one.
Sure. Basically, I would just wake up at like 2, 3 p.m., roll out of bed, come out here into my office and get out my guitar and just start working on it. And I'd work on it like, I don't know, 10, 12 hours a day, some days more. Just got really obsessed with it. I'd like forget to eat and I like would just be in here all day until I got like too tired. I'd just fall asleep at like 5, 6 in the morning and then just do it all over again. And I did that for several weeks. Basically, yeah. And then like sitting here for that long, being in my office for this long, I had like medical problems and stuff. But I don't know. I just got like obsessed with getting it done. And once I knew I was like using the recordings that I was recording myself, I wanted to make sure it was perfect. So it was just re-recording until I had it how I wanted it.
So tell me a little bit about that then, like juggling that self-imposed, like kind of, as you say, solitude there, kind of, and then also juggling medical issues, which I know all too well. What was that like? And juggling that sonic and emotional weight of not only what you were going through, but with the music and the album and putting that into that.
I don't know. It's kind of a blur. It's just like
Yep.
I just became obsessed, really. And it's like all I could think about. Like if I left and like went somewhere in the car, very rarely, but I'd like put it on the radio and I'd be like, oh, I hear something. And I'm like, oh, I got to fix that. And I'd like take notes. And it was just all that was on my mind. Like it was just like my entire world for that little bit, just because I really wanted to get it done. And I knew what I wanted. It was just a matter of like getting it written, getting it played right. And yeah. And then what happened was I had the drums programmed, and then I got Mike Heller to do the live drums on it. So then, once he did the drums, then I re-recorded everything again, or maybe not everything, but most of it, just to kind of fit better with how the drums were. So just a lot of like repetitive over and over.
Yeah, well, Mike, he definitely brings a serious intensity to the drum work on this album. It's unreal. What was it like working with him? And tell me a little bit about kind of how his energy kind of elevated your vision or kind of helped with the vision of Rose Thorn Necklace.
Yeah. So right away, I wanted everything to be like exactly how I programmed them, but he really wanted to make his own parts, make his own fills and stuff like that. So it was definitely a collaborative effort. And he made everything way heavier, way more chaotic, and that's where I came in, kind of reeling back on certain parts because it's not like a technical death metal record. But also like I did want to like incorporate some of those just to give it a different flavor and like help make it more intense than it was originally. It was like way more laid back than it ended up being with the program drums. So I think we found like a happy medium. We'd go back and forth and say, okay, this part's too intense, or I like what you added here, and it was just a process over a couple weeks where he'd record a song and we'd go back and forth on it for a little bit, and we'd figure out what worked best in the end.
Yeah, well, your music for me, it's always had this kind of, especially with this album, it has this balance between beauty and brutality, you know what I mean? And you kind of For me, having this catharsis by exploring the darker parts of yourself is really kind of liberating and freeing. Tell me a little bit about how you incorporated that with this album, because you definitely feel it with these moments. You like the start of the album, Grotesque Display, and then you hit him with Rose Thorn, and then you got Thinly Sliced Heart Muscle. I just love these moments of brutality and then beauty and these introspection that you have in this album that really does create a whole listening experience with it.
Yeah, I think I like exploring contrast a lot, and
Yep.
so the darker, heavier stuff in contrast with the more pretty, melancholic, beautiful parts play off of each other, and you know it's mostly about like the transitions in between them and where they change, I think. And so going from something dark and heavy into something lighter is just going to feel even more lighter and prettier by contrast of what's before it.
Yep.
And yeah, I like playing with that a lot. And in the same vein, it's build and release of tension that I try to do. So, a lot of heavy blast beats and chugs and stuff going opening up into like a wider drum part and like a sweeping guitar parts just kind of releases that tension. So, um yeah, I don't know. I just don't want the whole thing to sound like monotonous in
Yep.
one vein or one style the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I always love listening to the Ghost Bath album as well. And it kind of does step out of that conceptual thing you had going on with Moon Lover, Star Mourner, and kind of round out with South Lover. Tell me a little bit about the what this was like creatively for you, a little bit more of a freeing experience, and did it bring in any more new challenges?
Yeah, overall it's a standalone album now, so I could just go any direction I wanted and sort of focus in and make it more, I guess, poignant and like tighter. Um, it's definitely like a shorter record than like the other ones that are like more sweeping and sprawling,
Yep.
um, and have more time. So yeah, I think I wrote it all like in way more shorter period, like I was describing before, where I had just got done with a tour, and it was like one of the worst tours I've ever been on, and mostly there's a lot of reasons, but mostly it was just because I was really sick the entire tour and after, which just made me miserable. And at the very end of that tour, like I said, I haven't really been mentioning this, but we like totaled our van on the
Yep.
second to last day in Los Angeles. So yeah, there's just a lot of shit like that going on. So I just kind of took all that energy and like put it into writing this album and just like focusing on this and nothing else. Kind of like an escape almost.
Yeah, yeah, definitely some powerful tracks in there, and you know your music never shies away from going into those darker themes as well, lyrically and musically. And the powerful track "Well, I Tried Drowning" is an absolute ripper as well. Tell me a little bit about kind of this track and how you approach writing material like that.
Well, I tried drowning. That was like one of the first tracks I had for this record, and it was
Yep.
actually written. Most of it had been written like years ago. I had an idea. I was gonna start like I don't know, I guess a side project or something with a lot more synth, which obviously it ended up becoming like part of this project instead. But yeah, the main idea behind that one was I really liked just the basic like slow blast beat that goes on throughout it. That was kind of vocal driven, more than the other tracks. And then yeah, the synth I don't know. I was just like experimenting. It's kind of like a weird like 80s sounding gritty synth. And because of that, I started incorporating it into the other songs on the album as well.
Yep. I love the theme, the flower theme. I've got to mention it. I just was playing the Stamen and Pistol track, which is an absolute ripper as well. I love kind of tell me a little bit about that, using the flower theme with this as well, because it does kind of reappear a bit through it.
Yeah, when I was titling the tracks, yeah, that was definitely a theme throughout, and it just like represents like I don't know beauty and romance as like the contrast to like the darkness and like
Darkness.
grotesque and grossness. And like yeah, Stamen and Pistol is like Pretty sure it's like the sexual organs of plants.
And
So
I remember it from fucking like school, man. As soon as I seen that, and it just brought me straight back to, I don't know, it was like a fucking science class or something way back in grade six or some shit like that. And I'm like, oh, I know that, and yeah.
yep.
So you said I did see there the recording process for this album was a little different. You did write and record a lot of it at home yourself. Tell me a little bit about that and what the decision led you to doing that for.
Yeah, so our last album was like a full band. Everyone wrote.
Yep.
We wrote it in the studio. We wrote it in like our practice rehearsal spot. Uh, but that came out in like 2021, so it's been quite a while, and we are starting to work on another full band album, which we're still working on now. But I think the idea was it had been too long, and like we'd
Yeah.
been touring on that one for so long, we needed to get more music out, and I had all these tracks that I was already working on, so basically made the decision I'm just gonna get this one done by myself, so we have new music and we're not just like touring on an album from 2021 still.
Yep.
So yeah, I wanted to finish this one, and it was way faster for me to just do it by myself. Everyone lives in different parts of the U.S. I live in Pittsburgh. Everyone else lives in Minneapolis, and our drummer lives in New Mexico. So they're really far. I have to fly out just to write and work on stuff with them. So yeah, I was used to doing albums by myself. I mean, I did
Yeah.
the EP, Funeral, Moon Lover, Star Mourner all by myself anyway. So I was just like, okay, we got to get music out, and I have these ideas, so I'm gonna get this done so we have new music while we're still working on the next one.
Yeah, well, that's something that you've always remained true to your vision and kind of your artistic direction as well, and finding a group of guys that you can collab with and work with that and push forward, but still remaining true to what Ghost Path is and what that vision you have for the band is, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, and they totally understand that. Like since they've joined the band, that's kind of been how we've done things. And yeah, the main four guys, like the me and the two other guitarists and the bass player, have been in the band since we started touring back in
Yeah.
2016, I think, on Moon Lover.
Yep.
And they've been the same guys. Our drummers have changed like all the time. We can't really find a drummer who wants to stay or that we want to stay. So hopefully we always say it, but this guy that we're with now, we really like him. So hopefully he stays.
Yeah, that's it. And you do have this, as I was mentioning, this beauty and brutality and this hypnotic vibe in your music, which I really do dig, especially in the tracks like Dandelion Tea and the closer, Throat Cancer. Tell me a little bit about those tracks.
Um, all right, two very different tracks. I would say
Yep.
Dandelion Tea is probably the heaviest, the darkest. It kind of feels more sinister than the other ones, and that one was a little bit more inspired by something like Shining.
Yep.
Kind of the
Oh,
basic idea behind it, but the main riff that was in the middle, just like the rock and roll type riff, that's what I started with, and I was like, okay, yeah, I can work with this. And it actually uses the same chord structures as Rose Thorn Necklace. I just thought it was cool to use the same chords in a completely different way. Like I don't think the songs are the same at all, but um, they use the same chords, but in a different tuning and in a different way. And then Throat Cancer, just I don't know, my most DSBM song on the record. It's a
yep.
little more slow, and like the vocals are way more vocal cord driven. Like you can hear the voice through the vocals, which I don't really do often because it like ruins my throat, especially live. So I just decided to do it just on that track, and I just kind of made it like brooding and like a little bit longer paced, and just to close it out.
Yeah, and I do got to mention that cover art. It is striking and kind of a Latvian artist as well. I'm not even going to attempt to annihilate her name, but it's a really striking piece of art. And for me, music, art, and visual art has kind of carried a lot of emotional weight as well. And I know it has for you. Tell us a little bit about choosing this piece.
Sure. Yeah, like with all my albums, I find a piece that's already done
Yep.
and like pair it with the album instead of commissioning something new.
Yeah.
And this one, yeah, yeah. Once I found her work, this wasn't the first piece I found by her. I just found like her work in general. The colors really stuck out. She used a lot of like purples and reds and pinks, and Some of them use like blues and stuff like that, but I just liked the way she used color mostly. And it's like a lot of her stuff is like focused on flesh and like
Yep.
I don't know, contorted body parts and almost alien like, but it's definitely like human. So I don't know, just the whole feeling of it really stuck out to me. So as soon as I saw it, I knew this would be the one that I want to use for the record. And luckily, she answered her email, which some artists don't. And then like, dang, I can't use this. But yeah, and also she did like the back cover art, which you can't really see unless you get like the CD or the vinyl. But it also has like same sorts of colors, both some black and like also another hand, like mangled hand. So.
Yeah, I love sitting there with the album art, and for me, checking out artists like this, when you see these amazing piece of art and you're like, oh yeah, when I was doing this I got to go check out all the other work. I've done one with Epica and they've done the same, and I love when bands like that are grabbing these amazing pieces of art, and it kind of opens it up to check it out as well for people that do go, oh, got to go check this out. And I do implore everyone to go check her art out. It's really amazing. Okay, and then a nameless one, sorry mate, do you have any last words, shout outs, thank yous, or anything else you'd like to add in there, mate?
Um, I don't know. I just say check out the album. Check
Yep.
out Bloom. He did our first music video, and it was his first music video ever, and he did a great job. So check out his work. Yeah, check out the cover artist's work. Again, I'm not gonna try to pronounce it either, but it's written down like in the description of everything. It's credited if you want to check her out. And yeah, check out Mike Heller's other work, I guess too. He plays. What are you playing? Fear Factory. He's on the new Abigail Williams coming out. He's on the new Psy record, the Japanese band. So he's a great drummer. Yeah,
That's the
thank
good
you.
thing about good drummers, though, aren't they? They just play every single band. I know it's the same in Australia. It's like you get a good drummer. I know Dave Haley from Psychroptic. He's drumming in about bloody 10 different bands over here in Australia. So it's really good to see that's all lining up. Good for you too, mate.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much for your time and giving us a look into the creation of Rose Thorn Necklace. It is a dark, brutal, and absolutely cathartic album. Everyone watching, please make sure, as you heard there from the Nameless one, go check out Ghost Bath's latest album and everything else we talked about. It is out now through Nuclear Blast, and you do have to get the vinyl and the CD to check out the great artwork that goes with it. Thank you so much for joining me, mate. You have a lovely evening.
All right. Thanks. Have a good one.
Cheers, mate.
Oi, you're tuned in to That Aussie Metal Guy, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his sick content. And remember, stay brutal, you legend.